Okay, let's get you up to date the news at the border. Border Patrol just yesterday arrested 4 illegal aliens off the coast of Puerto Rico. They're trying to cross into the U.S. illegally, trying to smuggle in nearly $15 million worth of cocaine. Look at this United Nations warning. They're out with a serious warning, something we talked about 5 months ago. That transnational criminals, including drug and human traffickers, are cooperating and coordinating, meeting terrorists in prison. They're talking about exploiting the chaos from COVID-19 shutdowns around the world and in the U.S., and also weak borders in order to enter countries like America and commit crimes and attacks. Let's welcome back to the show retired ICE Acting Director Ronald Vitiello. Sir, you and I talked about this, that the D.C. media squabbles are distracting from bigger threats. Remember, the 9/11 Commission said 9/11 was a failure of the imagination. This is a serious issue. Your reaction to this report out of the UN?
Yes, this is very concerning. We want to have a situation where this kind of threat is investigated fully. So the department was created, the National Security Agency, that was watching a threat like this for a long time, ever since 9/11, probably before that. And so this is something that we need to take very seriously. You can combat this threat by strong international cooperation, intelligence, and diligence at the border and in the border security regime. Who's coming to that border and what are their intent? So this is something that's very serious. The department is equipped to handle it, but strong international cooperation and intelligence are key to combat a threat like this one.
Yeah, the UN said it heard from 50 member countries and 15 counterterrorism entities that the terrorists really benefit and know that they benefit from organized criminal networks like drug and human trafficking. And they're coordinating and cooperating after meeting in prison. And the terrorists and the criminal traffickers are using the dark web and encrypted communications to stay ahead of law enforcement. So they are benefiting off of each other's mutual shared interests and their networks. Your reaction to that?
Yes, this is an unholy alliance. We have to do everything we can to combat this kind of alliance. And so having good intelligence, having law enforcement officers who are expert at navigating the dark web, and then undercover operations, intelligence gathering, and strong international cooperation, that's how we combat a threat like this one. So this bears watching. 50 countries are in agreement in this regard, so we got to do all we can to protect our borders, protect our country, and make sure we know who's coming up to that border. That's why intelligence is key here.
Yeah. What authorities get fed up about is the D.C. media beltway and their inside the beltway squabbles that are distracting from the broader issues hitting the border and what you guys have to deal with. Let's watch Kim Klacik, congressional Republican candidate from Baltimore. She talked about, watch this, the nexus between drug cartels and sanctuary cities. Watch this.
There are a lot of bad actors, drug cartels within some of these major cities. Some of them then want to be sanctuary cities. But those in the community that have migrated here, sometimes they're forced to basically not snitch, you could say, on some of these cartel members that are within the community because they themselves are afraid of being deported.
So what she's saying, Ron, is, we really got to step up and stop this and shut this down fast. She's saying, don't deport the snitcher. Don't go after the snitcher. That's how dire the situation is. She's going to propose that if she wins the election in November. What are your thoughts on that idea?
A couple of things. I think that she's right about sanctuary cities. We should not be in a modern American society where cities and towns and states decide which laws get enforced and which laws don't. If they want to change the law, people in Congress can change the law. But having cities and other jurisdictions decide who gets arrested and who doesn't, I don't think is a good idea. She's also right about how cartels prey upon people who are in the country legally and illegally. But when people are in the country illegally and they have information that they want to give the government, like DEA or ICE, there are visas set aside for people like that, and they can be protected from immigration enforcement so long as they're helping the government. So I think the fear about people being arrested just because they're here illegally is one that exists. But I don't think it really would prevent anybody that had information that they wanted to give law enforcement to combat crime or help a victim. There are visas for that specifically, and people can take advantage of that.
How worried are you about this report coming out of the UN?
Yeah, this is something that we've talked about, my former colleagues in the department, since the creation of DHS. And so this is something that we were always very concerned about. And so like I said, it bears watching. We have to continue to do what we can to protect and secure our border, and then use intelligence and international cooperation to prevent that kind of threat.
All right. Ronald Vitiello, thank you so much for joining us. Come back soon.